Hey, welcome back. I have a pretty lightweight base on today because I wanted to focus on sharing with you all how you can naturally elongate your features or give the appearance of larger features. I get comments a lot saying, I have really small eyelids. How can I make them look bigger? How can I have more of a defined look? So I want to take you through some steps that you can incorporate into your routine that can not only make your eyes look bigger, but just your overall makeup look, your brows, your face, your lips. Gonna touch on just some simple things that you can do to really enhance those, but in a bigger, brighter fashion. So first thing I want to start out with is the face. And for me, there's one feature on the face that can really just give you like the ultimate defined kind of like lifted look, and that is the cheekbone area. So giving definition to your cheekbones. Now, we all know pretty much how to use bronzer, powder contour, that kind of thing. But for me, what really can elevate a look is playing around with some type of cream contour product or cream bronzing product. We all know I'm a huge ride or die cream contour fan. Absolutely love it, but I like doing it in a natural fashion. So to have some type of cream product underneath your bronzer or underneath your makeup in general, it just gives this really three-dimensional effect that, in my opinion, a powder can't give. So I have one of my favorite products here, and I think this is a great product if you are a beginner. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand. Now, this is pricey, but it is such a great product. You can't mess it up. You truly cannot mess this up. And so that's why I want to use it today. This is what it looks like. It has a little sponge tip applicator on it. I know when a lot of people hear cream contour, they think, I can't do that, or it's just too much. And I think it's because throughout the past probably 5-6 years, cream contour has really just been over dramatized, especially in marketing and ads you see in the store. It's just placed all over the face. When in reality, a few dots in the areas that you want to kind of lift and draw attention to, that's what this is going to do. So I'm just going to take a few, I'm kind of drying out. I'm almost out of mine. By the way, I know contour is meant to recede and highlight is meant to lift. What I mean by lift is when you really give this area right here definition. I don't care what anyone says, it lifts the face. So, okay, we're just gonna take a few little dots. So I like to just start out with kind of like 3, and then I like to give definition obviously to the forehead. So again, just very small dots, and gonna bring that around, and that is pretty much it. That will give you a nice contoured effect. So gonna take just my foundation brush here. This is an IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Perfection brush. And I'm just going to press that into the natural area where my face contour is. And this is just such a beautiful product. It blends out. Oh, I mean, that was like no effort. And I mean, look what we got going on here. That is, Kendall Jenner, come fight me. And then again, just going to lightly kind of press into the skin and just follow where we place those dots. Now, if you don't want to use the Charlotte Tilbury one, or it's just not really in your budget, you could definitely go to the drugstore and get a stick foundation and use that as your cream contour and just kind of do the same motions. Just do a few little dots, or you could do striping motions. And just start out with less. Just start out with less and then work your way up. All right, so just like that, we are defined, we are contoured, and we are lifted. And really, at this point, doesn't even matter if you go in with a bronzer. If you want to add bronzer on top, I like to do that just to kind of set it. You could definitely do that. But this is the type of definition that really makes a difference on the face. I mean, it just does. That's all there is to it. You can add highlighter, you can add blush, but if you don't have a little bit of sculpting going on, I don't know. You're not camp, baby. That was a joke. I couldn't get over everyone after the Met Gala using camp 1,000 times in a sentence, and my ass was like Googling what is camp. I'm just thinking like, are people showing up in tents? Are we gonna be roasting some marshmallows on the red carpet, you know? Okay, brows are next. Don't come for me. I know I already filled them in. That's not the point that I'm gonna make for the brows. My point with the brows, okay, so you can fill them in. Everyone's different. Everyone's different in how their brows need to be filled in, how they need to be shaped. But there is one specific thing and one specific product that you can use to really make them stand out and make them look larger. So right now I just have my brows filled in per usual with my normal brow powder that I would use. But then I go in with some type of brow gel and I push up. So when you push up, they look full, they look a little bit more bushy. If you don't like the full bushy brow look, you know, you can shape them however you want. Just give them some lift. A little bit of lift goes a long way with the brows. Even if you have the smallest brows or very little brow hair, just, you know, give a little bit of a push maybe in the front where you have the most hair, and that just gives the appearance of more voluminous brows and just fuller brows in general. So most of y'all know my favorite product is the Glossier Boy Brow. Using something that has fibers in it will also give you the appearance of fuller and larger brows. So I just want to show you an example. I'm going to leave this side kind of as is normal, and then this side I'm just going to give a few good pushes with my Glossier Boy Brow. And I can't tell you how many comments I get when I use my Boy Brow or just my brow gel in general. People will say, what are you doing differently to your brows? Your brows look great today. And I just give them a little push. I mean, that's literally all there is to it. And it's as easy as that. All right, so instead of kind of just being, you know, this brow looks fine, it's a little straight, a little flat, we have more volume. It's kind of like a push-up bra for the eyebrows. And in photographs, it really does make a difference. I mean, just having these brows kind of stand up in the front and look full and voluminous in photographs, I can't tell you how much of a difference a tiny little product like this makes. Now, if you already have pretty full brows and you don't need the fibers, you could use something like a clear brow gel. That would be fine. But, you know, instead of taking your brow gel and just laying everything down flat, push-up bra status. Like, what? Are these even the same brows? I mean, it is crazy how much of a difference that product can make. So, find yourself a good fibrous brow gel. Benefit Gimme Brows is a good one. Personally, I just haven't found anything better than Glossier Boy Brow, but feel free to experiment if you've tried that one and you don't like it. Okay, moving into eyes. Eyeshadow and really defining the eyes and making them look larger especially, there's no bigger misconception than you need to use a ton of eyeshadows, when in reality it's the opposite. Your eyes look the biggest and the brightest when they have minimal product on them. So to showcase that today, I'm not even going to be using eyeshadow. I'm just going to take a bronzer and a highlighter. So I have my Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze in Glow. What I'm going to do is just take a little bit of my bronzer on regular just eyeshadow brush, kind of fluffy, doesn't really matter. Just pick up a little bit and we're going to work that all over the eye and slightly into the crease. You just need a light wash of definition on the eyes to make them look larger and to make them look more defined. All right, so we've got our definition laid down and now I'm just gonna brighten. So I'm just taking the highlighter in this palette and just on a more tapered brush, I'm gonna pop that in my inner corner, and that's just gonna automatically brighten up the eye, add lightness to the inner part of the eye, and ultimately it does make your eye look bigger. Now I have one other step that I'm going to show you, actually two. I've got two other things that I'm going to show you that can really bump this up. Now just doing this by itself, it's going to give you a nice natural look. It's not going to give you the full large kind of doe eye look that we're going for. So I have two other steps that you can do to really just complete everything. Okay, next, a little bit of winged liner. Now I know a lot of you are listening to this and you're like, winged eyeliner is not the vibe I'm trying to be. I don't go for it. I do winged eyeliner a very specific way, and I wouldn't even call it a wing. A lot of you all know I refer to it as a kitten flick, but there is a technique and a way that you can really do this without closing off your eye and without making your eye look smaller. So what I'm going to do is, let me push this back. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to start out by mapping out the kitten flick. By the way, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Perfect Powder Pencil. I think that's what it's called. The classic eye powder pencil. And this is basically powder, but in a stick form. It's very easy to work with. Obviously, you can use whichever eyeliner you prefer. So I've just kind of mapped out that very, very light flick on the end. And then we're going to bring that in and connect it to the lash line. Okay, fatal mistake that people make here. Drawing the line all the way on the inner corner and thinking you have to go all the way across the lid. I actually stop about halfway, about right in the center of my lid. I keep it very tapered in that area. I don't make it thick. I get it as close to the lash line as possible and stop about halfway. And that's it. Automatically, in my opinion, my eye looks a bit more lifted than this one, but we're not overwhelming it with an exaggerated wing, and we're not overwhelming it by going through our entire lid with eyeliner. So very small, just kind of like kitten flick on the end, and stop about halfway. So now we have a really nice elongated shape, whereas my eyes before, they're kind of more of an almond shape than they're a little downturned. So this really gives the appearance of just more lifted and larger eyes. So last step to the eyes, and I know some of y'all aren't going to want to hear this, but in reality, it does make the biggest difference, and that's just popping on a pair of really natural eyelashes. I always use Ardell Demi Wispies, but I think most of you all know by now, I mean, it's just a game changer. It truly is. If you really want your eyes to stand out and you really want to make them look larger, adding lashes will do the trick. And they don't have to be overwhelming. Ardell Demi Wispies are very natural lashes. So just popping on a pair of, just experiment. Find some that are super natural and that really complement your eye shape. Okay, like, it's kind of obvious at this point which eye looks fuller, which eye looks larger and more elongated. For me, putting on lashes is faster than mascara, because with mascara, you just got to layer until you're happy. With lashes, especially ones that you've used a couple times, they automatically form fit to your eyes. And it's just so fast. I literally just look straight, pop it, and basically it's on. I just have to adjust it. So eyelashes, they really are a game changer, especially in making the eyes look fuller and larger and more elongated. Lastly, let's talk about some lip action. I want to just say right off the bat, it is not a bad thing to overline your lips. Let's say it for the people in the back. It is not a bad thing to overline the lips. However, there is a difference in overlining your lips in a way that is just too much, and then also using a color that just isn't really that flattering, obviously. So my recommendation is to find a lip liner that is 1 to 2 shades darker than your actual lip color, your natural lip color. Nothing more, nothing less. And then I'm going to show you how to make them look fuller, but without having the just overly dramatic, overlined lips. So my favorite lip pencil is from NYX. It's called Beige. It is almost the same color as my actual lip tone. It is a little bit more beigey and just slightly darker. So you just want something that is a hint, just a little bit darker than your actual lip color. And I think the mistake that people make with their lips and lining them is they overline the bottom especially, which again is okay if you just slightly do it. But then on top, a lot of people really overline the sides. And that kind of gives you that duck type look where if you were to look to the side, you could obviously see that they're overlined. So what I like to do is actually just add the fullness in the Cupid's bow. Just add the fullness in the Cupid's bow, and then I ever so slightly around the sides might over outline a little bit. And I mean, I'm talking just slightly where it will match up with the Cupid's bow. So I'm going to show you how I do that. All right, so I've got that Cupid's bow overlined a little bit, and then I'm just going to start where the Cupid's bow is right here, and then I'm just going to naturally follow my lip shape. So automatically I'm slightly fuller on top, but I'm not full all the way through, if that makes sense. And for me, my bottom lip is a little bit fuller than my top, so I don't really overline it. But if you want to, just ever so slightly, just a tiny amount will give you definition. This is like one of the most juicy lip glosses you could ever put on your lips. It's the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Fenty Glow, just the original one. Such a great universal color. It's great for all skin tones, but I'm just going to pop that on the center of my lips. All right, so I hope that wasn't too fussy. In all reality, I think it's these small, minimal details that have the biggest impact. If you think about what I just did to my face, it was very minimal. Just added some definition to the cheeks, lifted the brows, added some brightness to the inner corner on the eyes and some lashes, and that is pretty much it. So I hope I gave you some tips and some suggestions for things that you can do in your routine. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.